Jason, welcome. How you doing, mate?
Aaron, thanks.
I'm really looking forward to this. Fastest growing buyer's agency in the country. What an amazing effort. You've gone from 1,800 followers at the start of the year.
Yeah.
9-10 months later,
Yeah.
you're now sitting at 33,500 followers. You're the most viewed buyer's agent on social media, averaging over 2.5-3 million views a month.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you today about how you are growing this audience organically and also rapidly.
Yeah.
So, tell everybody, JBX, that's the name of the buyer's agency. Why JBX?
So obviously Jason Ballo, the Jason Ballo experience. I obviously love the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, but it was more the Jason Ballo experience because I wanted to create a business that was all about experience to buyers. I serviced buyers for a long time before becoming a buyer's agent full time and charging for it. I did it for free for a long time, and I had my ideas of how I wanted to create my service. You know, obviously I wanted to offer a 6-star service. So to give you an example, I've got clients flying in from Dubai. I'm picking them up in a Mercedes Maybach on Thursday. We're looking at 6-7 properties, north, south, east, west, to kind of give them a feel. So it's all about the experience, you know, going shopping with friends. It's like, you know, I wanted to make it very casual, very easy, but obviously have my product knowledge behind me, have my market knowledge behind me. And I just wanted people that have that experience. A great time, but also, shit, this guy is switched on. He knows his stuff. He knows what things are selling for. So it's all of that incorporated into one thing. So JBX Buyers Agency.
I like it. I like it very much. So tell me, obviously you've been an agent for a long time and I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
What was the...
Well, you're my first real estate coach.
I know, it's...
12 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that.
It's been a long time, but why the switch? And obviously you know the listing side of things so well. Why the switch into buyer's agency? What made you sort of take that leap?
Well, you know, my personal story, I've just had twins. So I found out I was having twins and that's a shock to the system. I didn't want to, you know, I took my profession very seriously. You know, obviously I was always coached. You're my first real estate coach. That's where I started that journey of wanting to be a high level professional. Yep. And so to be a high level professional for me as a guy, I was like going to the office early, making your calls, doing your prospecting, you know, throughout the day, going see a bunch of properties, servicing buyers, you know, making sure you're going to every auction, you know, in the area, knowing every property in the area. So that's a lot of legwork. That's a lot of time away from family. And I wanted to kind of find a different balance. I loved servicing buyers and I knew that there was a big opportunity there to do something because the level of quality wasn't there for buyer's agents. It's still not, you know, it's a growing business. And I thought it'd be very difficult for someone to compete against me. Whereas when I was a real estate agent, I was finding it very difficult to compete against and so I kind of put everything together and I was like, well, I'm having twins, you know, I wanted to shift and do my own thing away from being, you know, an agent working for an office, wanted to run my own time, my own schedule. So here I am.
Yeah, that's awesome. But, you know, you take this blind leap from listing agent to buyer's agent. Yeah. Okay, I know you've got the skills, but I guess what I want to know is, you know, you started this journey with no clients and very little traction on socials.
Zero, yeah.
And you've gone to basically being the most watched, fastest growing channel, which is...
Getting hit up every day for new clients.
Which is mind-bending, right? And like that's what we call becoming the go-to agent. I've even seen some of your videos, 4.5 million views, 3.5 million views. You just showed me your professional dashboard. So far this month, 2.4 million views across your videos. Was this an accident? Like, what I mean by was this an accident? Did you have social media as the main lead gen? Like, how did this come about? Because I've watched agents spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, employ every digital agency under the sun, landing pages, generating lists. It goes nowhere. You've started this with an iPhone, zero budget, and have just turned this into this massive beast. Tell me, how did it start? That's what I want to know.
You know me, I've done all of that.
Yeah,
I was always about that. I was always about, and I tried everything, I did everything, and a lot of things didn't pop off for me. but I kept working at like I was, 15 years, 20 years in this, and like there's not a lot of that was working. My wife, who was going on maternity leave, comes from the media world. She's like, all right, we're going to build you a website. We'll get you on socials. We'll do this, we'll do that. And I was like, I don't want to do any of that. Yeah. She's like, no, you have to. I'm like, no, I'll find my first client, whatever. And I just want to focus on them, give them really good service. I'll go out. I just wanted to make it about the practice, make sure that my systems and my processes were in line. Like I was just building my practice from scratch. I knew how to service buyers, but when you're charging someone, it becomes a different ball game, right? In terms of the comms, in terms of how you want to service. She was like, no, we've got to do something. And I said, no website. She's like, oh, you got to do something on socials. I was like, all right. And she was, as a lot of good wives, she was like on me, nagging, I was like, okay, well, she's like, I said, I'll create JBX Buyers Agents Instagram. She's like, no. That's a bad idea. Just Jason Ballo. You're Jason Ballo, use Jason Ballo. I was like, okay. So I came up with this idea. I was like, well, I shoot a lot of houses and I know how important time is in the real estate business on both sides, right? So you've got to be very, very fastidious about time. You've got to be very thoughtful about time. So I thought, okay, well, I'm looking at a lot of houses. I'll go look at houses and then you can film me and I'll do a talk over, but I'll talk about price up front. That's where I'll make my difference. Because I knew agents and what they like, price guides and contact agent and, withhold price, whatever. I was like, the first thing I'm going to do is talk about price. So I had the ideas of what would kind of pick up. And so the first video we shot, I posted it a couple days later, 350,000 views on Instagram.
On your first video?
First video. So I thought, holy shit, I got to keep going at this. And then I just kept going. And then the more views started to roll in and it got better, improved. The camera work got better, my editing got better, my energy was improved. Now you see a video that I post today, I post every day, versus then I was posting 2-3 times a week. I didn't want to flood people's inboxes, but now I'm like, can I do 3 videos a day, 4 videos, so I'm kind of at that level now. So it was blind luck to answer your question. I've been trying things for a long time. So you can say it was, at some point I would have had to get paid for or had to get rewarded for all my years of hard work, nothing coming of it.
It's an overnight success, 15 years in the making is the famous saying,
It was really, so I had zero thought what I've experienced today and what I get every day. Like, the celebrities hitting me up, clients hitting me up from overseas.
Well, talk me through that, right? So, you're in momentum now. You're becoming this go-to guy for celebrities you talked about a celebrity chef contacting you from
MasterChef.
From Melbourne, wanting to catch up, relocating. Just talk me through, you post a video, it goes viral. What's a byproduct of that?
My DMs, it's crazy what happens in the DMs, man. Like, I get hit up, people just hit me up saying, Jace, I love you. Some people just say, Jace, I love your videos, I love what you're doing, keep going. But I've got, it's crazy. And I was just telling you off camera, been a real estate agent that long, I have never received that many people calling me in to sell houses ever before. Like, I could have had a career, I could have a career now if I was still selling houses. Like, I would have sold 30, 40 properties. That's how many people have hit me up saying, Jace, can you sell my, and not asking me to come, just asking me, can you sell my property? Yeah. And from $12 million houses in Dural to $2 million properties in Gerringong and $1 million property here, an apartment here, just everywhere.
I even hit you up.
You hit me up about your property.
On one of my properties I was selling.
Yeah. And it's funny, that's sold now.
That's sold too.
After my video.
After your video.
I love how that works out. But it was meant to be a catalog for potential clients so that I could have relevancy. So I could sit with them and say, as you'd say Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'd say Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. These are the properties that I've been looking at. Have you seen this one? Did you like this one? What did you like about? And to have something to talk about. And so because it's, you taught me this day one. Show them, don't
tell them.
That's right.
Yeah, show them, don't tell me. Don't tell me, show me.
So I guess all those little things you learn and you put those pieces of the puzzle together. But there was no way I could ever imagine my DMs. You know, I've got a guy that's hit me up, $20 million penthouse in Bondi where we're sitting down for lunch and he's like, I want you to do this, I want you to do this. And now like incorporating in a larger thing, people are asking me, have requests, I was doing these videos, like I would just look at what I was looking at and make videos out of them. Now I get requests all over and now I'm getting paid for these videos.
Well, talk to me about what you mean by requests. Like, give me an example. Like, okay, you're out.
I'll show, like, so yesterday, a guy hit me up, just messaged me, cold message, because I've got my number up there. Jace, we're so-and-so builders. We just finished this product in Smithfield. Can you come shoot it? In Smithfield, it was a brand new house. I was like, yeah, sure. The price, here's the price, and they're like, okay, no worries. So that's on a Sunday, like today's Monday. So that's on a Sunday,
So you're featuring now, just so where everybody gets this right, you're featuring opportunities, products, new builds, listings on behalf of either the agent or on behalf of the builder to, basically put it out to your audience and to your network, right? The people that are following you on Instagram, is that right? That's exactly right. Fantastic. So you've been able to sort of monetize.
So I'm monetizing those videos, but also the clients that are inquiring and coming in, and like I said, the sense of authority that the videos give me, you present your fee and whatnot. And, at the start of the year it was very different because I had, I did one deal early on this year. I bought a $4 million house and like the client who I kind of knew, I'd seen through open homes and whatnot before. She's looking for a one-of-one property, lived in the suburbs she wanted to buy in. And I just said, and I gave her some pointers as to what she needs to be doing. Anyway, the house happens to come across my lap as it does in a random scenario because I'm just out there.
Yep.
I'd sat with her and I said, look, my fee is X. $4 million house. They're like, there's no way we're paying on $4 million. You're talking 1.5% to 2%, it's in that range. So then they're like, okay, no, that's a bit expensive, but I find him the house. I go back to them and say, well, I've got you your house. You're willing to, have a conversation. She was like, yeah. It's like, my husband's there. Can you come see my husband? Blah, blah, blah. All right, go see the husband. We sort of worked it out. He's a really smart and really fair guy. He's like, look, I need to know that you're working for me. And I said, absolutely. So we came up with a structure for the fee, which was very, very fair, which, we sort of agreed upon. A week later, I buy them the house. They were willing to go to 4-1 on the house. I buy it for 4. So it just all worked out, and I got them a settlement term. So I learned from that, that was very difficult to sell myself. But, fast forward a couple more months, people are just, I'm having VCs with people and they're just signing up. There's none of that sort of friction anymore,
Well, I think posting regularly, there's a message in social proof, right? You're posting regularly, and one of my favorite sayings in this space is frequency of videos builds trust. Sure. Frequency of video builds trust. They see you consistently on the video, and it's a one-way conversation. They're seeing you, you're not seeing them, but they feel like they get to know you, then like you, then trust you through video. So those conversations and those meetings become a lot less frictionless.
I was near my place. I live in the city. I was in Darling Square, and I was selling my offices in Piedmont. So I'm walking, and I can walk home, right? I was telling you I walked to my office and whatnot. So I walked home, and then there's a bathroom in Darling Square, and there's like where the Starbucks is, and I had a coffee. I was coming home, going to the bathroom to like wash my hands. I didn't even use the bathroom. I was like washing my hands to come out. And I hadn't eaten something on the way. And it was the most random thing. This guy was washing his hands. He goes, Jason. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, in the bathroom, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you're that guy that does the videos on Instagram. I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, my name's Ken, blah, blah, blah. We're talking through. He's like, I've got money in my offset. Been saying like, I want to buy a property. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we just started talking. He walked out of the bathroom. He was like drying his hands now, walking out. Like 5 minutes, we're exchanging details, like in the middle of Darling Square, right? So Darling Square, so that happens. And I go, okay, no worries. I go, hit me up. Let's have coffee or whatever. He goes, yeah, cool. And then 2 seconds later, I say goodbye to Ken. This guy, Peter, walks past who had just randomly, he goes, Jason. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I work here at CBA, at this building in CBA. He goes, I love your videos. I love what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. So like, it's wild for what it does. People do know you. They're just calling me. I'm getting called out on the street.
Okay, tell me this then, right? Because we're talking about the end product here.
Yeah.
You've been doing it now for 10 months, you're consistent at it. You know, that old saying, it's not about who you know, it's about who you knows you. You're crushing all of that. Somebody that's got a phobia of video, right? So there's going to be, I wish I had 2.4 million people watch this, but I'm going to have 8 to 10,000 agents watch this video. Someone's knows they've got to do video. They know they've got to put themselves out there. What would you say to somebody to get them to start? What would be the thing to start their first video?
The first thing. Sort of don't make it about you.
Yeah.
Right. So I think, one of the things I did well with these videos is, I made it about the property, and I love real estate. I'm a real estate thoroughbred. You got horses everywhere. I feel like I'm born and bred for this business. I love it. And I love property, right? So like a lot of people talk shit about properties, talk down about properties. I'm always looking at different opportunities, what it presents. I mean, there are some, low-level shitty properties that, but I don't really shoot those. The ones that I do shoot, the dilapidated ones, all have some sort of beauty toward them, in my opinion, right? So I talk about things, and you can tell that I love them. So I make it about the property. I talk about what the property is. I don't say, where real estate agents go wrong is they talk about, oh, this is one of a kind, and this is the best in the street, and this is blah, blah, blah. It's like very silly, So like when you're doing a video, just don't make it about yourself, right? Be yourself, but don't make it about yourself. And then it becomes easier.
Yeah, okay. I like the thing you said about not being silly. Like one of the things I know about your videos, because I know you and I've known you for a long time, really authentic. Like,
well, I'm not selling those.
You're not selling them, I understand, but there's a level of authenticity that what you see on those Instagram videos is who you are in real life. And one thing I've known about you forever is you've always been a sharp, snappy dresser. So you always look sharp on video, but that's how you are all the time anyway. So there's a level of authenticity. Tell me, like, and this is more of, I guess, a personal question. How do you pick? How do you know what's going to go? Like, is there how do you know what properties are going to take off and get millions of views? Which ones are going to tank? You don't You don't. But that's the thing. That's what you got. That's the biggest takeaway from what we're talking about. What you're asking me is, you just don't know. Like, I think, I did one at the Crown, and I thought this is going to get fucking 1 million plus views, and it's only gotten like 700K, and it's been like 3 weeks. Heartbroken. Only 700K views.
But then you post something and you think, oh, this is going to run to like 100K in 3 days, and it's like stuck at 15 or 20K, because some videos don't perform as well as others, and you think, like, it's hard to pick. And I was listening to an interview with, it was who was it? I think it was Fat Joe, and he was talking about making hit records. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like, you don't know what's going to hit. Everything, all the pieces have to come together. But at the same time, you don't know what's going to be a hit in hip hop, because he talked about giving away. So 50 Cent had a song, The Candy Shop, right? Then the Candy Shop, whatever. Yeah. Of course you do.
Everyone knows it,
So if that was Fat Joe's song, like, he was going to have that beat, and then he was like, no, I'll give it to you, 50 Cent. And he's like, gave it to 50 Cent. They had some beef, they came together afterwards. He gave it to 50 Cent. And he was like, and then he was saying he went on a dry run for 3 years. He didn't have another hit record. And this is a guy that produced hit after hit after hit. I mean, he had the best songs, right? So it's hard to, and he's like, it's not like he's not making music. So you just don't know what's going to hit. So I think stop overthinking about it too much. Because if something hits, something does, man, you see the craziest shit online. Like on TikTok, there's a guy that makes fairy floss. Have you seen this guy? He makes fairy floss, and now he's got his kids in it. Man, he's got like 5 million followers on TikTok, and it's trickled over into Instagram now. And he's got this stick, and it's like a fairy floss machine. And he's like, and then he does these like crazy patterns, and he like puts a stick in it, and it's like becomes a star and a moon, and like all this crazy shit. And he's like, and these videos get like 1 million views in a day. Like, it is wild. You don't know what's going to pop, what's not going to pop. So you've just got to keep going. And I've been doing this for a long enough time that I've tried remember I was doing the domain thing, and we're incorporating, I had the locked on system, I had the videos, so I'd send people the hyperlink of the videos. I don't know if you remember that, but
I do. I remember helping you set it up at the time. You shot all the video
and
content.
I was going there, and like people were like, man, I don't like, you're a real estate agent and you're trying to give me advice on the market. The problem with the perception of the world is they don't believe what we say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, and we're becoming more cynical, not just to agents, but in general. So yeah, 100%.
So to give your viewers some value, so I've been, as a buyer's agent, I'm on everybody's like market reports now.
Yep.
And you know what I say on the market reports? Market not performing, but XY real estate agent is outperforming the market. And everybody's saying that.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Really? Like, you're trying to compare your auction rates to the market's auction rates. It's not really fair. It's not a really fair fight. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to say, well, we're outperforming this, but are you really? You know, are you really? Like, there's the market is so broad with different property types, right? And some markets aren't performing as well as others. So, and people looking at that and going, that's a bit sideways, right? So just make it as authentic as it is. Just talk about things for what they are. I've been talking about things for what they are. You know, I've talked not bad about some properties, but I've said in videos, this is not a renovation that I love, because this is just, you know, paint the walls, they've put tiles, they haven't deleted any walls, they've bastardized the period detail. I mean, you've got the beautiful period detail, the cornices, you know, the archways in your corridors, like you've got all, so like I love all of that period detail, and some have been bastardized and ripped out, and you know, I'm very honest about it. I say, look, it's been bastardized and been ripped out, I don't love it, you know, and like, that's fine. Yeah. So what's wrong with saying that?
I think people connect with that because then they know you're not trying to sell it. It's just, this is what it is, this is what I think. Tell me this. You know, so we'll talk more about frequency in a moment, because I know you kind of mentioned before, you know, when you started this, it was a couple of times a week without wanting to sort of overwhelm people's, you know, feeds. Sure. And then you sort of have ramped it up to one a day now. You're trying to do 2 and 3 a day. Yeah. But I guess my question to you is, because this is something I've been fascinated with, and I know with email marketing, days of the week matter, times of the day matter, subject lines matter. And I've been a real sort of stickler for that stuff, but because I've never really cracked the social media, or I certainly haven't cracked the social media code like you. Is there days in the week? Is there times? Is there things that outperform others if I was to look at your data and sort of say what days, what times work?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So between 6 a.m. 6 p.m. is basically my strike rate. The balance is pretty even, but I've noticed when I post videos, like on a Saturday, I'll post a video, say around 9:45, 10 a.m. because I know people are having their coffee, having their breakfast, you know, like normal people, not agents.
Yeah, I understand normal, yeah.
Normal people, right? You know, and then because after that, they're like, doing whatever, they're throwing frisbees in the park and whatever people do on Saturdays, apart from looking at properties. So like,
you can tell two institutionalized real estate. What do you do on a Saturday? You show property, sell property?
I literally saw 2 guys throwing a frisbee near my house the other day, and I'm like, why? Like, I've been working Saturdays since I was 16, so I just don't know.
Institutionalized to the industry, but okay. Normal people,
at a cafe, having breakfast, blah, 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 right? So I'll do that. Mondays, I'll try and do like an afternoon, because Monday mornings, even though I know 6 a.m., I know the times, right? But I'm like, Mondays I'll do like a later post, like between 3 and 6 or 3 and 6:30, somewhere around there. Because I know people in the morning, Monday mornings, it's a bit hectic. But Tuesdays, I'm doing 10 a.m. posts, because I know people are like now a little bit more cruisy into their week, everything's sort of set up. And mornings are good because you get that rally, or, you know, choose a midday. Fridays is Friday mornings, it's not Friday afternoon, because, you know, Sydney or Australia, people are going out, you know.
The priorities are elsewhere,
Priorities are elsewhere. But the thing is, I second guessed myself, and I posted a video, wasn't last Friday, the Friday before that. I was like, because I really wanted to get the content out, and I posted late, like 4 o'clock, and the thing went 150k views in like 3 days, and it rallied so hard that Friday afternoon as well. So even myself, I'm still not, I overthink it, and I think that's what people get caught up in. They get caught up in the semantics, in the minutiae of it. It's like, you don't need to worry about that. If a video is hot, it will pop off no matter what. You know, it's like that. You know, it's like that hot tour girl. You know, there's that hot tour girl. You know, that moment in time, that serendipitous moment, it's like boom, and then she pops off, and then, you know, 8 weeks later, she's got 1.6 million followers. She's getting flown around the world. Like, she's getting all these sponsorship deals. She was a small town girl, and she made a joke on camera. And she's actually a real sweetheart of a girl. If you've seen,
I follow her on Instagram for what she was going to do next. And she seems like a very decent human being. She the charity work, loves rescuing dogs, giving away all the money. I follow her, and I was like, what a good thing you've done with this opportunity. So, okay,
it's like a joke. You say, you've had a few drinks, you make a joke, you know, it's like boom, and then the thing picks up. So you don't know what's going to pop off. So I think people need to stop overthinking things and trying to make, you know, obviously when I started, and then you get everybody started copying you, you know, everyone's starting to copy you, which is fine. That's how real estate is. It's like everyone's brochures are the same. Everyone's deals are the same. Everyone's signboards become the same. Everyone's websites become the same, you know, same, because what's real estate good, you know, what real estate agents do, which is a bad thing is, and that's why you get hacked down on fees. And sort of looking back in reflection, you're like, I did everything the same as everybody else, which is why I always resonated with you. I came to you because you had the different stuff, you know, you had the outstanding stuff and the different things. And so I was always trying to do things different than everybody else. And I think that's what you need to do. You need to be different in order to get a different result. If you're going to do the same thing, you know, to most likely get the same result. You know, that hot tour girl, if you try and replicate that video, it might be funny, it might get some views, but you're not going to get 100 million and Joe Rogan talking about you and all that.
No way. Yeah, like I think you nailed it. That the word serendipitous. You could try and replicate that 1,000 times in that instance. Never repeat it. You know, tell me this. You know, one of my favorite things, and one of the things as a coach that I see is this hesitation around executing the first video. And one of my sayings, and one of the things I say to a lot of people, is you can't do your 100th good video until you've done your first bad video. I think a lot of agents are under this, expectation of it. There's got to be lights. There's multiple cameras set up. You know, talk to me about your setup. Like, how do you shoot these videos that are getting millions of views a month?
Well, I've got an iPhone 14.
Me too. Yeah, okay, so not even the current one.
Here's the iPhone 14. I've got in my bag the DJ Osmo 3. I just bought it 2 weeks ago. I've just recently learned there's not a good wide angle lens for it, attachment, to get like the bathroom shots and so like I went into a $10 million house on Friday shooting it with the DJ Osmo, and I did it. And then I was like, no, I went back with my iPhone. iPhone is the best thing. If you get the iPhone 16, even better. It's got some function now that when you do videos, it's not shaky. It doesn't shake. It's got that same sort of motion. I think it's called the action. Yeah, it's called action or whatever. And so that's good enough. And then, you know, I bought a Rode. So my first 30 videos, I was using the old school cables for the microphone to do the voiceovers.
I remember that.
Yeah. And so then you could tell the quality. And also I didn't realize, like, this is how bad my videos were. I remember I shot a video and people were like, did you dip your phone in Vaseline before you shot this? And like, I was getting messages and I was getting blasted on the internet for like, just wipe your phone, dude. And then my friend, who's like a big social guy, he's a famous guy, right? And he's messaging me on WhatsApp. He goes, dude, make sure you wipe your lens. I didn't know, it's a little trick. He's like, wipe your lens before you shoot. So cameras, your phone's fine. You know, your phone. If you've got a Samsung, even better. So I do all of that, and I use an editing software, very basic, CapCut. I don't even pay like a subscription. It's like
you got the free version of CapCut.
If you look at my first few videos, they were terrible. And then like, I just made slight improvements over time. So my wife said to me, I said to her, how do you think I can improve? She goes, just the energy up front, like with your videos, like, you know, when you're doing, this is what, you know, $2 million.
No, don't give it too much away. I actually want you to, because you spoke before, and I want to bring it back, but you spoke about the price up front. So I wanted to talk about how you introduce the video, but keep going. Yeah.
So the bottom line is, phone is perfect. Desire is everything. Wanting to be and wanting to do and wanting to help. So I think I came from a place of, well, you know what, if I'm going to do these videos, I'm going to show people what things are really trading for and give them the price, because nothing frustrates me more than agents that, you know, play the petty games of withholding price, because that doesn't help the marketplace. That hurts the marketplace. Yeah. And it only hurts, you're hurting a marketplace for your own benefit. Yeah. That's a very terrible place, or terrible game to play. Like, I get it. You want to protect your business, you want to do this and you want to do that, but you've got to find other ways in order to do that. People love what I do, and people look at me as an authority because I talk about price up front. Yeah. They find it that's where I've captivated the audience, is the price. The first video I did was, this is what $1.7 million buys you in Sydney, right?
A couple of things. Before we say that, the first thing I've seen is REA have released some data recently, and they've talked about hygiene of listings, health of listings. They've talked about engagement of listings. Listings with clear pricing is getting way more engagement on REA than with holding price, contact agent. So, and I think that's a nice segue into, you said your first video. I follow you, I watch, I don't know if I see every video, but I see a lot of them. I comment, I think they're great. Someone's wondering, because you've really coined now, you've really sort of cemented a tagline on every video. You know what you're going to get on every video. With that energy, how do you open up one of your videos? What do you typically say to grab that audience's attention?
So I'll get to that. I'll answer that question. But REA messaged me on Friday. One of the chief marketing, whatever people, they were doing a big webinar, and she messaged me saying, can we have permission to talk about your videos in our webinar across, because we want to talk about how you talk about price and your authentic self. And so it's funny that, right? They're hitting the biggest. Yeah.
They're the big boys,
To use my videos, right? So I think that's a very important piece. So I open up my videos by saying, this is what $2 million buys you in Sydney. And then...
No, you don't. You say alrighty legends too, right? Come on, give me the full experience. This is the JBX experience.
So this is what $2 million buys you in Sydney. Let's check it out. And then I cut into a voiceover once I walk into the property, and it's like, alrighty legends, this spectacular 3-story home is a 4-bed, 4-bath, 3-car home that sits on 600 square meters of land. That's the same thing I use since day one. I've just given it a bit more oomph, a bit more.
I noticed that too, and I'm glad you have.
You got to have that. I'm a bit of an entertainer as well, I suppose. I have that thing.
Energy introduces you before your handshake.
I talk about the property, and I talk about the things that people won't talk about. It's like, I've got a house that I've shot and it hasn't been released yet, but I don't know when this will get released. But if you look back at it, it's number 55 Long Street, Strathfield. I talk about, the slabs of marble, the slabs of stone in the house. They're not tiles, they're slabs, and the expense that goes in it. There's over $1 million of stone in this house. It is insane. And I talk about that the way I'm talking about it now. It's not like, oh, this is Calcutta marble from like blah, blah, blah. This is how I talk, right? So, and then I talk throughout the video. I talk about, this is a sexy finish. This is this, this is a really sick detail with the skylight and the blah, 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 right on top of the bathtub. And, so I'm really, I just talk like myself, and that's throughout, the video. And then it cuts to the back of the house, and I go, and that's what $3 million, or that's what $2 million buys you in Sydney. And it's the same format every time. Yeah. And they're could be 45 seconds, some videos. I mean, the smaller houses, the 1-bedroom houses that I show, all the way up to, a minute 30 seconds.
Okay, tell me this. I want to ask 2 questions, but I see lots of different styles of properties, but some of the videos that have had the most views are kind of like derelict. They're almost like bulldozed, squatters properties, but with incredible views. Why are you shooting those, what makes you pick that style? That's more of a question for me than somebody else watching. But why are you picking those?
Because that's just what's in the market, right? I'm like a real estate journalist or whatever you want to call me, but I'm a real estate guy. I'm looking at those deals. To answer your question, to be quite upfront, is I've got a list of guys, not signed up clients, but guys that have money, that would look at the right deal, that would builder type, developer types, and I want to be well versed. Product knowledge in real estate space is very important. So I'm always looking at things because I want to be relevant to those potential clients so that, when they do sign up or when they do come on board, when I am showing something of relevance, I can say, that one sold for 8.5 mil. That was a complete knockdown. The reason why it sold for that was this. So I'm looking at it out of general interest. And obviously I know it's going to get a lot of views. 8.5 million for a teardown, or $9.2 million for a teardown, or 1.7 for for something that looks like a teardown is going to do really well. The reason why I found that out is because I shot houses like that in the early days, and I didn't think of it. I just shot it maybe out of laziness because I've got the shot now, and I'm just going to report on it. I didn't think it was going to get the reaction the way it did. And then one of those first videos, it tracked over 1 million in like a week or something like that. And then I was like, well, okay, if that does well, then I'll do another one. And then I did one at in Burnell Street in Des Moines, and that did, that got close to, I think that's close to 5. The thing is with Reels, they still get views and they still get likes. They're still in the algorithm. Yeah. So they're still continuing to get, they're still capturing an audience. So,
well, I see on some of those videos, like, how is property worth so much? I think they really sort of evoke emotion and make people engage and comment. Not out of, oh, this is amazing, but how is this worth so much money? And, like they say, good news travels fast, bad news travels fast. So they're kind of looking at it like, how is this so much money? And it almost forces people to comment and not scroll past.
Yeah. And that all helps with the algorithm. That all helps with views. So, and you've got to take a lot of the bad comments.
I was going to ask that. How do you handle bad comments? Let me ask. So obviously there's a lot of people loving what you're doing. You've also told me about a couple of agents. You didn't have permission to post this property. So what I want to hand first and foremost, not the agents, but the actual, the keyboard warriors online. How do you handle them? Because we've all got an ego. We all want to be liked. How do you handle a negative comment? Because I know that I might tell a coaching client, hey, go send out an SMS to your database. And they get 2 or 3 unsubscribes, go aways, and people melt and they really sort of second guess themselves. Is this the right career for me? Yeah. Obviously, you put yourself out there, you're going to get some pushback. How do you handle a negative comment or multiple negative comments on a video?
Honestly, the best thing to do is not read the comments and not engage. Yes. My wife's been in a couple of those battles, and I've had to ban her from doing that now because there were people talking shit about me online or whatever. She doesn't do too well with that type of...
Well, that's good. That's loyalty. I like that.
Yeah. So I had to sort of, put the kibosh on that. But, I've had guys that have said, they get frustrated. They're like, oh, real estate agents are setting prices. And like I said, I'm a real estate guy. I'm a real estate professional. Been a real estate agent for a long ass time and now a buyer's agent. So, there's guys that are saying, here's a note to throw a brick at your local real estate agent, and I just comment back and I just go harder back at them. I'm like, I like to see you throw a brick at me, and I put them on blast. So I'm not afraid to have a little bit of that fight back and forward because, I like to see you say that in front of my face. That's just my general attitude. Yes. And that's genuine. I'd like to see you say that in front of my face. Yep. I know they would never because they're all cowards. Yes. So in the sense that I also don't give a fuck, you also learn in that process, and you know this as well from being a practitioner and now coach many, and how many people poo-poo properties, how many people walk through the door and say, oh, this house is this and this house is that, and you're like, shut up, get out of my open home, you're like that whole thing, right? But you learn to understand people are saying that stuff behind your back anyway. Yeah. Once you realize that, and or at least you have that thoughtfulness, in understanding that people talking shit about it regardless. So they may as well be talking about it in front of your face or in the comments, right? So that's just how I take it. But I mean, I love it. I love the attention. So.
Yeah, well, the more comments helps the algorithm. So, okay, so, let's just talk about I know how you handle it, like how you're commenting, but mentally, that's probably, I'd say, even more important for a lot of people watching right now. You get a comment, do you think about it? Do you dwell on it? Do you move on?
No, because my world has changed so much since I started this in January. Every day it's changing. I mean, full circle moment, me being here, you interviewing me. Yep. You never would have interviewed me if my thing, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because what profile?
You are the number one agent in the country right now for eyeballs.
Yeah,
on.
for sure.
You are it. Yeah, you're averaging 2.5, 3 million.
I get more eyeballs than $1 Million Listing Sydney. I get more views than Domain and REA there when they post out there.
I know, that's why you are here. You're doing something that is uniquely different. And I don't want people to just go out and copy you. The whole purpose of this interview is to give people encouragement that you can pick up your phone today, go out and film. If you're a listing agent, film content to grow your profile like you are. You're getting stopped in the street, like the saying. It's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. But I just see the first little roadblock in so many people's journeys, right? They get that first speed hump of adversity and they get some negative feedback and the handbrake's on, the emergency lights are on, they stop, they throw it out. You've just kept going with it. What advice would you give someone who's literally in their own head about it? They're making it way worse in their head than what it's going to be in reality. What would you say? The
best thing to do, and it's not about copying, right? And like I said, I came out doing the videos not expecting this to happen, right? Which is the genuine truth. And then you get these, I've had people like directly rip off my content.
And we're talking big players. I was on Instagram. I won't say the name, but I was on Instagram the other day. I'm like, hang on, I know that style, the speed up, the intro, the walkthrough. I'm like, that looks surprisingly similar. So you're always going to have, and you know what, imitation is the best form of flattery.
The thing is, you're only doing, and this is what I've learned, right? You're only doing me a favor because everybody recognizes me for this thing, right?
100%. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, carbon copy.
So it's like you're only ripping off this guy now. So it doesn't actually look great on you. The best thing to do is find a style, a niche. It can be, check out this bathroom. You could just talk about bathrooms. You could just talk about kitchens. You could just be the kitchen person and talk about kitchens and why this kitchen in this position in this house is terrible. And because these are all the things I think about now. Like, well, I've got my thing. People know me for the thing, so I'm consistent. I'm keeping doing my thing, right? I don't want to deviate. But talking about stone, talking about like whatever it is, but like keep it consistent.
Well, let me ask you this: I'm a normal, and maybe you can answer this, maybe you can't. Maybe we edit this out, we'll see. But you're an agent selling $700,000 average homes. Like you can't talk about special stone in those houses. What would you say to someone that's just selling mum and dad houses? Because that's the bulk of agents in Australia. I know we all want to be on $1 million listing, but the 99% of agents are selling mum and dad.
Here's great question. Here's what I do, because I've often thought about this. Like, here's what's, this is a $700,000 apartment, or you can get a $700,000 Ferrari. Which one would you choose? This one will appreciate in this much growth. This one, like make it fun. Make it, have fun with it. Like people are so like, oh, it's got to sell. No, it doesn't need to sell. It doesn't need to sell. Compare it with a Porsche 911 Turbo S, which is $700,000. And go film it. Go to Porsche dealership. Film it, don't ask their permission, fuck them, right? Film it and go, would you rather this Porsche or would you rather this house? This one's going to appreciate over time, this one's going to depreciate. There you go.
There's your angle.
And you know what? Take it, use it, DM me, tag me in that video.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Talk about, when you talked about,
or your Corvette out here, Is how much is that thing?
Do this, right? So, you said as we were starting, early days, you were filming at open homes. Before agents were inviting you in, you were filming at open homes. Property were going on the internet. You're getting agents saying, take that video down. Just talk. I thought that was quite interesting. Like the whole goal is profile eyeballs. Just, you don't have to say names, but just sort of talk us through kind of instances where that happened or what happened and how you handled it. Because again, it's adversity. Most agents would have thrown out the brakes, put out the parachutes, well, slow this down. You just kept going. Tell me what happened. How did you deal with it?
I don't know how many, I've lost count now. How many people threaten me with legal notices or legal action or solicitors and blah, blah, blah. And I listen, I've been in the space so long, I've been in the game so long. I know what the restrictions are, what I'm saying. You know, I wasn't posting addresses of those of those properties. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was filming a house in a public open home. In my opinion, I'm talking about a property that, just like any publication, like you guys invite Domain and the SMH and AFR to your auctions and opens and whatever, same way they would report on a property, I'm reporting on a property. That's how I looked at it. So, you know, there was a lot of that, and there was a lot of that pushback, and can you delete this video? And I was like, no, I don't delete videos. Once the post is up, you know, that's it. It stays there. It's bad for the algorithm to delete videos. So I refused, and I was just really strong in my stance, you know, and I drew the line. I was like, I'm not going to play this game. It's like, I'm on this side of the street, right? You know, I'm doing this. My duty is far greater than what one real estate agent thinks the perception, because obviously there's a lot of bad comments. Yeah. And then they see those bad comments. I mean, everyone talk great about every house.
No, impossibility.
Impossibility. So
especially when you're getting millions of views. It's an impossibility.
And they think what I do is going to have an impact in their campaign, which is not the truth, right? And so, you know, I know prices. I know what things are worth. I know what things are trading for. And, you know, obviously they probably feel like I've taken the power away from them. Yeah. But in reality, I'm reporting on what's going on in the market. And this is the reality of, you know, the world that we're living in now. So I guess to answer your question, I didn't give a fuck, right? Yeah. I didn't give a fuck about the pushback. And because of that, I was able to break through, which is funny now. I look back and go, there's a reason why no one else has broken through the way I have.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I think regardless of what service line, what you're doing in real estate right now, if it be buyer's agent, listing agent, that mental toughness, that grit, you know, one of the things that I say in my own life, but also to coaching clients is you will be successful directly to the level of stress you're able to handle. Yes. So the more stress you're able to handle, that is directly linked to the amount of income you can earn. Yeah. Most people aren't capable of handling more stress, but you know, when I was doing 200 transactions a year, there's more stress. There's more vendors that don't want to drop their price. There's more problems with pest and building. So your ability to handle stress is directly linked to the amount of income you can earn.
By the way, 200 without DocuSign as well.
Yeah, as well. That was all face-to-face, 100%. I look at people now and go, cheating.
But that's, I mean, listen, you know, if you're still in the market, just for people to understand, like, you're doing like 700 transactions. Yeah. Like, that's who you, like, I mean, I knew you as that person, right? Yeah. So, you know, you see a couple of guys that have broken through, right? But it's just like, it's crazy. Like 200 transactions without DocuSign, that's just a whole nother.
Well, it's 400 plus signatures. Yeah. But your ability to be successful is directly linked to the amount of stress you can handle. And one of my favorite sayings is, you know, do not complain about the results you didn't get for the work you didn't do, right? Yes. And that really resonates with me, because you see people, you know, and there'll be heroes in your comments talking about, you know, overnight success, or that's a shit property, or you don't present well. But hang on, don't complain about the results you're not getting in your life for the results you know, for the effort you didn't put in. You're putting in the effort, and we'll talk about frequency in a moment.
So to touch on that, so to come back to real estate agents and how I dealt with them, you know, like my beliefs as a real estate agent myself, you know, I was always like, it's my job to set the expectation with the vendor. It's my job to manage them through the process. It's my job to understand everything that's trading in that market, to have that knowledge, to be able to share that knowledge and understand who's buying what at what time, and to help them along that journey, right? So if I haven't done my job at any one of those points, and you know, that's my responsibility. And a lot of these agents, it's happened to be a lot of these busier agents, the bigger ones that would have the shits. They would obviously get into a place where they're so big, they're not managing the vendors the same way, they're not having those meetings up front, and you know, you start to say a price on a property and they think it's going to impact. Well, no, I don't set prices in this country. Everyone thinks I set prices in Sydney now, but I don't. The market is the market. You can't outsmart the market. The market will pay what the market wants at that time, right? It's just how it is.
Supply and demand will influence the market.
I'm just a guy that does videos, you know, like from my point of view. So, you know, it's really the insecurities of them that are coming out. And so I don't play that game. I don't buy into it. You know, real estate agents, you know, have no problem door knocking and interrupting people's day to prospect. I don't go around saying, fuck you, don't be calling these people. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is what they're trying to do with me. This is my prospecting. I've treated it as my prospecting. I spent hours a day on one video, hours a day to do one video because it's going out shooting. Some properties don't come out well, whatever. You know, it's a whole thing, right? So I really treat it like prospecting.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the things I've noticed, right, you've built this massive following, getting millions of views a month, and you've sort of got your authority now very high. How are you monetizing that? Like, what are some of the things that you're doing to convert these active buyers, basically, and people that have gone from past window shopping into actually using your services?
So, I mean, obviously the ancillary, product that I sell is now the videos, right? People, you know.
When you say people, agents?
Agents and sellers directly hit me up.
Yep.
Developers, you know.
I hit you up person.
You hit me up, yeah. So I charge for videos.
Yep.
And so there is that component, but also I am able to obtain and get clients on retainer and, you know, fee for service. You know, I go look for them for you know, property. They become my clients. And then there's also the off-market channel, which is about to launch.
Yeah, I'm on that. I'm in it. You've invited me in.
Yeah. So that's something that's, I think we're going to sort of change the shape of how things are done in that off-market space.
Are you able to share, or is it still too soon? Or do you want to give us the high levels?
Yeah,
or?
like, I mean, you know, if we're going to have a lot of people, you know, obviously with you guys, we're locked on, you guys are going to help us out, but you know, we'll figure out how that's all going to work. So we're still in that sort of infrastructure stage, but the crux of it is, you know, we're going to have a lot of buyers looking at, through our platform, through our website, off-market deals across Sydney.
Yep.
Currently across Sydney, and then we'll open up into different markets once that starts to happen. So, yeah, we're going to monetize our services through that as well. Yep. And so if anyone wants to send us their off-market properties, jason@jbxbuyersagents.com.au.
I'll put it on.
Just do the whole thing, yeah. And then so we're going to have a very specific way that we're going to get those properties. So the benefit about buyers agents is, you know, we don't need contracts of sale. We don't need a lot of things. We just need to understand what the deal is and the willingness of the seller and what have you, you know, to be on our platform. But obviously having a contract of sale helps because the immediacy of the deal. So that's probably the least that they're going to need. And it's a free service for real estate agents and for sellers. We obviously charge the buyers. I won't go into that too much right now.
But so I guess if you've got a vendor out there right now, so if you're an agent, you've got a vendor out there and it's like, they don't want to come to market. Just bring me a buyer. And especially in Sydney where Jason is absolutely fastest growing buyer's agent, hit him up. I'll put the details on this video.
Yeah, hit me up.
He's got a wider reach than the bulk of agents out there right now.
I'll have a bigger platform than, let's say, the domain off-market platform. You know, we'll be a lot bigger than that.
So one of the things, right, you mentioned earlier, you know, video pops off, I think were your words. You're getting 1 million, 2 million views or 800,000 views. You wake up the next day, there's DMs, you're getting text messages, emails, they're in your Instagram. How do you triage the inquiry? And how do you sort of, you know, convert that inquiry into actual opportunity?
Yeah, it's become quite hectic. So now I've got a PA that helps manage my diary, manage my calendar.
Yep.
So I'll have a conversation in there. Say, you know, they'll say, Jace, you know, can you help me do a video? Or we'd love to, you know, I love your videos. You know, which is very typical. Love your videos. Can you do one for my place?
Yep.
Yeah, great. You know, speak to Priscilla or whatever. She'll book you in, blah, blah, blah. And then she'll send out, you know, the costing sheet and booking schedule and blah, blah, blah. And then there's others that hit me up, say, Jace, love your videos. We know such and such, or I know you, blah, blah, blah. you know, we are looking for a house, this, blah, you know, we're looking for this house, this spec, you know, can you help us out? And then I'll have a brief conversation, you know, have you thought about using a buyer's agent? You know, I'm fee for service, blah, 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 and I'll determine that. Do you want to jump on a call? Yeah, sure. And then I'll book that in. So those are really the two things that I get the most.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get some random ones here and there, but that's basically how I do it. And then I just palm it all off to my PA now. Yeah. It was getting too hectic to manage, plus my day-to-day, the calls and everything else. So
how many hours a day do you reckon you spend in kind of like that film mode? You know, so it's, you know, you talked about taking it from a couple of times a week to once a day. You've said, you know, wanting to shoot multiple videos, produce or release multiple videos a day. How much time would you spend now shooting video in front of the camera?
Well, one video, like, don't forget, it's like driving to a property as well.
To and from, yeah.
So to and from, you know, depending on that, you know, it could be, one video could be anywhere between 2 hours to sort of, you know, 4 hours, I would say. One video, including editing, including voiceover, and shooting and end to end.
Well, if you're a listing agent here, the reason why I asked you that question is, you know, your videos are your prospecting.
Yes.
Right? So they are your prospecting.
It's my prospecting.
To generate opportunities to represent buyers. So you're spending 2 to 4 hours a day prospecting, basically.
Yes, correct.
I just really want to make sure everybody, you know, gets that takeaway. Whatever service line, whatever we're doing, we should be spending a minimum of 2 hours a day in lead generation looking for new opportunities.
That's right.
So question as we finish up, you know, you are the video guy, you know, gone from 1,800 followers to 33,500 followers in under 12 months, in under 10 months realistically, averaging millions of views a month. What's three pieces of advice you'd give somebody to sort of get them started in their journey? What are the top 3 things they should know as they embark?
Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
You know, you're not as important as you think, right? You're not like, people really don't give that many cares.
Yeah.
And one video is just one video. Once one video is gone, like a day, once it's posted, 2 days later, people have forgotten about it already. Yeah. Like, so it's wiped off. So don't think about making a mistake or what you said on this or what you said on that. It just becomes part of what you do. But yeah, don't overthink it. And one video is never going to make or break you. You know, you need to keep going. You know, one video I've had 5 million views, but you know, you think, oh, it went by the phone, things are going to happen. No, it's like the accumulation of all those views, all those things. It's, like I said, it's my prospecting. So you got to keep it consistent and keep going. And when you figure out what works, probably is a 4th tip maybe. When you figure out what works, just keep doing that and just stick to that and don't change.
Yeah, excellent. So like A/B test, figure out what works, double down, do more of it.
Do a video. If it gets 5,000 views or 2,000 views, do the next one the same, maybe a little bit tweaker, better, a little bit better, a little bit better, and just improve little bit by bit. The 5 tips. There you go.
Jace, I appreciate you being here.
Appreciate
Thank you
you
for
having
coming
me.
out, my man.
Appreciate having me.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks, man.
Take care.